practicing against Pirate Warrior because of how much he's been expecting it. So right off the bat, we're going to get into it. Aggro Shaman versus Pirate Warrior. I know you guys are probably happy to see this. It's probably the two guys with the fastest lineups in the entire field.
Yep, and that's a coin totem golem for Greensheep. This match all boils all down to that early board control. If OmegaZero can establish the board, say he's got a Frothing Berserker left at that last minion. If Greensheep can't check it, that's going to spell lights out. However, if Greensheep can Russell control the board, it's difficult for OmegaZero to get it back unless he's got effective weapons to do it. But Greensheep's build is going to be blistering fast. He's already clocking OmegaZero. There's nothing OmegaZero can play to fight back on board just yet, and Greensheep's got Flame Wreath Faceless. OmegaZero has to find a way to get on board, or this game's going to end quick.
That's definitely true. When you miss that 2-drop as Pirate Warrior, which has become more likely with the changes that have been made, small-time Buccaneer being cut from most of these Pirate Warrior lists. 3-drop is that power slot. It's where they have South Sea Captain. It's where they have Frothing Berserker. And right now he's just going to have to use his Frothing Berserker to try and challenge the board.
It's not going to be getting very frothy, though.
No. Oh, one thing Greensheep does have to keep in mind, if he plays the second Totem Golem, he's going to overload and not have room for the Flame Wreath Faceless, but he's going to try and wait a turn. Next turn he can play Jade Claws and follow it up on turn 5 with Flame Wreath Faceless, so he's not going to delay by too much, and getting 2 Totem Golems online is definitely a big deal.
This is a really smart play here from Greensheep, too, to use the Lightning Bolt rather than use his Totem Golem health. He gets to make that 3 damage up instantly. He keeps health on his Totem Golem. He knows that OmegaZero has got copies of Argent Horse Rider in his deck. If he had attacked that Frothing Berserker with Totem Golem and then used the Argent Squire shield so he could hang on to Lightning Bolt, it would mean that OmegaZero has some counterplay left with an Argent Horse Rider. Here, Greensheep has completely stripped that away.
OmegaZero has a removal option for one of these Totem Golems. Still has Patches left, so South Sea Captain could pull Patches, which would then be 2 attack. But at this point, 2 attack on a Patches really makes 0 difference. So OmegaZero is going to have to sort of try and play a control style game, and that's a second Flame Wreath Faceless. And keep in mind, he is going to be able to use these back to back. If he plays one next turn, he's going to be able to load it for 2 going into 6, which means the Flame Wreath Twins are going to be hitting the board.
Yeah, and they're not going to be kind to OmegaZero. You notice Greensheep here just sets Jade Claws and doesn't attack with it. He knows that he doesn't have another weapon in hand, so there's not really a spot in sight where he's using this soon necessarily. And this leaves that opening now for OmegaZero. That Mortal Strike he used, the Heroic Strike now, he's trying to buy back the board to get things under control. But Greensheep held on to that weapon attack, which means he's got another one ready to go. And suddenly, OmegaZero has the largest threat in Shaman to deal with.
And then another one. Now, he does have a lot of damage in his hand, especially if he picks up a weapon to combine with this upgrade, and he could block some damage with Dread Corsair. But that damage is going to take a while to start ramping up. Greensheep's still at 27. And he's staring down this bad boy.
And another one's coming. I smell trouble.
So upgrade and Dread Corsair would be total 4 mana. He doesn't really get to do anything other than that.
Oh, Greensheep already counting. He's pointing and counting and stuff. I wonder if this is meant to drive OmegaZero possibly into a defensive play here. Like maybe he can get him to see Greensheep counting and he's like, oh, he's going to kill him quick. And that's a Lava Burst. Well, Greensheep's not bluffing. That's a lot of damage.
This game plan is not subtle.
And that's game. Unless OmegaZero trades in both Core Chron Elites, or Core Chron Elite and Argent Horse Rider, OmegaZero's dead. And if he does that, he has slowed the amount of time it's going to take for him to kill Greensheep by a ton, which means he's dead.
What's the common denominator there?
Slow.
I was looking for he's dead.
Oh, yeah. I missed that one. You know, sometimes you miss an opportunity.
Don't worry, loves. The cavalry.
Wow.
There are a few of greensheep's decks that can prey on the Pirate Warrior. It's one of the reasons why he's left it up. Talk about the power level of it, but greensheep has a unique lineup. He's got Water Rogue, one of the 2 players in the tournament to bring Aggro Shaman, him and Stanudachi.
That draws some heat.
I mean, the hero power is pretty irrelevant here because he's got the win regardless, and it's going to be steady shot. Sometimes you just have it all.
Ain't no brawling here.
Nope.
Game 1 greensheep. Giddy up.
That's a concede. That entire game lasted about as long as a single turn from the last series.
Greensheep has been an aggressive player for as long as I've known him. And I've known Greensheep since Beta of Hearthstone, 2014. This is what he loves playing. This is his wheelhouse. But OmegaZero, very much the same way. This is a guy who's largely utilized aggressive deck lists to drive his success.
Yeah, I mean, and it's working out for him in this match, but not working out for him overall in the tournament because he's fighting an elimination match. But there's the quarterfinalists that are being waiting tomorrow to face off against whoever makes it through to decider matches. 2 European players, Stanudachi and Nyria. The Chinese player LVGE, and as you guys just saw, Tare, the first America's player to make it through into those quarterfinals. So it's a good mix of players. One thing that's missing is Asia Pacific, and there's Nyria right now.
Oh, look at that.
He's waiting.
Money Sheep?
I don't know.
Is that Dr. J?
That is Dr. J. He's hiding.
That.
And that's a kawaii picture of Greensheep on his telephone.
Hearthstone groupies.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
It just took me a while to understand that that was actually a sheep on that paper. That was a green sheep. Looked like a turtle to me.
Same.
And there's the majestic green sheep in his natural environment of the aggro deck. He's waiting. That is 100% a turtle.
Yeah, that's definitely a turtle. I'm with you, Tej. I'm with you on that one. Hour 12, game 2 is coming up right now.
Let's go.
Greensheep's got a 1-0 lead. OmegaZero, he's going to swap over to Shaman, and Greensheep, he's going to load up the old aggro deck. And this is not just any aggro deck, TJ. This one is quite aggressive.
This is one of the only of its kind of like the green sheep. It's got pirates. It's got a Naga Corsair, Defender of Argus. Tops out at Leroy Jenkins as the most expensive minion in the deck, tied with Azure Drake plus the Finja.
Greensheep gets Wind Fury off the Swashbuckler too. And with Leroy Jenkins in the deck, this is an old Shaman combo that used to be the thing you did to kill people. You'd play Leroy Jenkins next to a Flame Tongue Totem, you'd Wind Fury it, and that was a sweet 16 damage you got in one turn. With a Cold Blood, Greensheep could pull some crazy shenanigans with that Wind Fury.
A 3-card combination of Leroy Cold Blood plus Wind Fury could deal 20 points of damage in a single turn.
In this game, OmegaZero, he's playing pretty much a full Jade list. He tops out at Jade Chieftain. He's got 2 copies of Thing from Below, 2 Azure Drakes, 2 Jade Spear, Eye of Black Paw, a lot of high-end cards in this deck. But he's got plenty of stuff that fights early for the board as well. A couple Maelstrom Portals, a couple Jade Claws, a Lightning Storm. He's got the Jade Claws, but he doesn't really have much else to go with it. That means Greensheep's going to be off to a pretty significant early lead. And if OmegaZero can't check that quick, the damage is going to pile up.
It certainly is. And one thing about OmegaZero Shaman is it's missing Jinyu Water Speaker. So there's not a way for him to heal up. So any damage that gets in is going to stick.
It's true, but Shamans are one of the better classes at actually stabilizing at low health totals, and a lot of that is in part thanks to their hero power. Can get those Stoneclaw totems and really disrupt the single attacks your opponent's trying to push through. However, there are no Feral Spirits in OmegaZero's list, so some of that resilience is gone. It's seated strictly in the two Thing from Below.
Thing from Below, Jade Chieftain as the game goes on. The one thing I'm concerned about with Jade Chieftain is that he doesn't have enough time to get to the point where his Jades are big enough to provide a big enough wall to block some of the stuff that greensheep's going to have up his sleeve as this game goes on.
It's definitely a concern.
And he's taking some heat. It's turn 4. He's at 21.
And this is the turn Greensheep was looking for with Edwin Van Cleef. Last turn, he could have used Backstab and played Edwin Van Cleef to get a 4-4, but he was looking to do something just like this. Backstab's a totem, Ardent Squire alongside it, and then Edwin Van Cleef. OmegaZero in this spot, this is a threat check for Greensheep right now. If there is no Hex, OmegaZero will take too much damage too early. He has Hex, but that's his entire turn.
And then he's taking the chip damage from the Ardent Squire, the patches, the dagger. Keep in mind that Wind Fury can also be used to activate Cold Blood. So if that's picked up, all of a sudden he could throw it on the Ardent Squire and then Cold Blood it to get 10 damage in.
OmegaZero's looking at coining this Blood Mage just to get something going. Maybe coin a totem just to try to gain some extra life, but this is not the position OmegaZero wants to be in. Normally he's hoping that he has enough early pressure that he can just fight this off. He didn't draw Tunnel Trog, didn't draw Totem Golem. And that's a Defender of Argus. I don't know if Greensheep's getting a better turn for this, but Azure Drake's looking mighty tempting. That would leave him with Argus and Eviscerate on the following turn.
It could also, if that Azure Drake sticks onto the board, could open up an opportunity for Defender of Argus Wind Fury. Buff that Azure Drake up.
That's exactly what he's going to move for as well. And this is basically doing the exact same thing the Edwin Van Cleef was. Since OmegaZero's taken so much damage and fallen so far behind, Greensheep's constantly trying to provide a threat check against OmegaZero. Do you have an answer?
Greensheep may not even have to do anything fancy this game aside from just play his minions on the board and start attacking face. OmegaZero finally has a board that can stand up to what Greensheep has developed, but at this stage, he's already at 6 mana.
And now's the big question, Finja or Defender of Argus?
Finja is mighty hard to pass up.
Well, he's got a Wind Fury with the Finja as well. So if he's able to kill a minion, he can Wind Fury, kill another one, and get all the Murlocs out of his deck in one turn. Now, he's already drawn a Bluegill.
Yeah.
So that is maybe not the most valuable use of it. But Greensheep now finally has a lot of stuff to think about. Prior to this, it's play your biggest threat, see if OmegaZero has the answer. And that will be Finja instead. And picking up the Finja helps thin out his deck too. That means he's going to be drawing his more important cards more often.
Deck thinning.
It's an important thing.
It is.
Very underrated. I'm curious if he's going to be killing this 2-2 or not. And it looks like he wants to. With the Frog in play, the Totem Golem's isolated right now, so it doesn't reach any of these minions. And OmegaZero finally does not have a direct answer to what's on board.
Which is going to spell trouble. It really is.
Those Ardent Squires are likely to get +1/+1 and Divine Shield.
Yeah, it's
And Taunt.
pretty solid positioning from Greensheep as well. Putting those Ardent Squires next to each other, those are the two of the minions that benefit probably the most from.
Oh my. Greensheep has got so much gas. He's guaranteed to pull at least one Murloc War Leader from the deck. And Finja has an interesting interaction with combat. If it attacks into a 4-power minion, say it has 4 health, it'll fall down to 0, but since it kills the minion, it'll activate. If a War Leader gets pulled from the deck at that point, it buffs the Finja up 1 health, and it will actually stay alive through that combat.
My shield for Argus.
It's something that feels a little obscure, but in this situation, it's not going to matter. But
Looks like he wants to either use the Bluegill Warrior to kill the Azure Drake, or he wants to eviscerate it.
And he's just going to push damage. This does set up lethal next turn plus some. So OmegaZero needs an AoE draw off the top, and that is not one of them. Can still pick up Maelstrom Portal, but would that even be enough? Jade Claws is the draw. I don't think OmegaZero has a way out of this. There's the concede. Greensheep takes a quick 2-0 lead in the series. OmegaZero is on the verge of elimination.
This is how his last set started, too. He started out 0-3 in his last set. Pulled it back to Game 7. And I think he could have won his Game 7 in that match.
And that's kind of a demoralizing loss for OmegaZero. Is that going to affect him? But Greensheep's got to be the favorite to win this one as he's up 2-0 in the series. A lot of Greensheep fans in the audience. Let's get to know him just a bit better.
2 years ago, I qualified for my first World Championships. The first BlizzCon, I didn't do that well.
But Kranich
crushing it with the Shaman. He's going to take this first series 3-0 over Greensheep. You guys talked about Greensheep being the one who was supposed to win this match.
definitely wasn't the case this time.
I've been away from the world stage for 2 years. There's been up and downs in my career. Once I broke a mouse because I was so frustrated at the game. Now that I have a chance once again to qualify for the World Championships, I really want to redeem myself. In 2014, I feel that I wasn't as great as a player as I am now. After all the hard work and dedication that I've committed to Hearthstone, I feel like I've improved as a player. I consider myself one of the veterans of the scene. Now I'm here at the Bahamas, ready to fight my way back to the world stage. I want to show I have what it takes to take the world title and be the world champion.
Some footage all the way back from the 2014 World Championship, back when he was just a little green lamb.
Do lambs grow up to sheep? Is that how that works?
And yeah, that's PogChamp indeed.
America's champ, Dr. J. Rooting for the sheep. He's got a great attitude. I love Greensheep. He's just a nice guy. You know that?
I didn't, but now I do.
Well, if he's your opponent, he may not be so nice.
You asked for it. Watch.
Especially when
pretty
he's
fast.
Yeah, especially when he starts throwing burn spells at the face. And that's relevant because this is Tempo Mage.
That's right. Tempo Mage is at times a very flexible deck. It's been styled to be in a realm where it can get those blistering starts, put you to the test, and just wipe you out if you don't have the answers, but it can also play a slower game and control the pace. And so for Greensheep here, his hand, not really one of those blistering starts. He's got Mana Worm, but his follow-up to this is Blood Mage or Hero Power right now. So against OmegaZero's Tempo Mage deck, he does need to have pressure going in order to really get the ball rolling in this game. But he has to have spells to do that. His hand right now is just kind of a mix of minions at this moment. So OmegaZero has a lot of time to put together some stronger turns, and that's exactly what he's looking for. If he can get a giant questing adventurer, a big Edwin Van Cleef, if he has time to get value out of an attack from Tomb Pillager, those are big facets that could put Greensheep in a lot of trouble.
It could, yes. But as we've seen, damage sticks to Rogue better than just about any other class most of the time because they just don't have a way to heal up. So if Greensheep gets some damage rolling early on, can draw into some burn spells, he can end the game even from a pretty rough situation. Picks up Arcane Blast, but he's got nothing to kill.
I think it's okay with that right now. He didn't see Backstab on the previous turn. And if OmegaZero had Backstab, there's a very good chance he would have used Backstab and his Hero Power to take out this Mana Worm. Instead, he chose just Dagger Up and Pass. So his hand is almost entirely minion damage right now. There's a chance Questing Adventurer may find its way to the board here, but outside of Sap, outside of Eviscerate, which is, he's got to use so much to make these plays. This is looking like it's going to get delayed, and if he plays Tomb Pillager, that's exactly what Greensheep wants right now.
It can feel counterintuitive, but sometimes you don't want to play just minions against Tempo Mage because it's giving them an excuse to use their spells.
Spellslinger is a dangerous card to use against Tempo Mage as well. If something valuable finds its way to Greensheep's hand, He's going to get an opportunity to use it first. OmegaZero gets Shatter, completely useless. Green Sheep picks up Soulfire. A free burn spell as long as he has Sorcerer's Apprentice out.
Too soon.
An extra reach as far as he's concerned. That's damage OmegaZero cannot be prepared for right now.
No, now he can.
Oh my gosh.
That's perfect.
That is a huge draw for Green Sheep right now. His hand was fairly weak. Now he's picked up 2 extra cards. His Mana Worm's getting buffed. He's wiping out the minion from OmegaZero, and he's pushing 6 damage.
He's got a Fireball. He's got a Soulfire. He's got a Firelands Portal. He's getting to a point where he can just start dealing damage.
And just kill him.
And then just mathematically win.
It's like you said, all that damage sticks to OmegaZero. He has no natural way to defend himself in his deck. He's going to have to find a way to counterattack if he wants to win this game. And to start the counterattack, he's got to be able to fend off the pressure first. I don't know if it's in these cards, TJ.
I mean, he's got some flexibility with 2 coins, the natural one and the counterfeit coin. But there's a wide range of things that he has to worry about. If he uses these removal spells now and then turn 5, bam, Azure Drake hits the board. What now?
That is not a powerful sap. That's a reverse powerful sap.
Could have just said weak.
More burn.
I mean, Sorcerer's Apprentice can effectively make up the mana.
Just look at OmegaZero.
Really playing it. He just looks lost.
It's the best he's got.
He just really is having trouble finding the right plays in this situation. And I think that's the best he can do. He's just got to hope that all 8 of these cards in Green Sheep's hand are dead.
Well,
But Green Sheep's sitting here saying, you know what? They're not dead. They're very much alive. The option here is whether or not he wants to try and get these Mana Worms online and start trucking. Or if Azure Drake's going to be the play. He's like, you know what? I have enough resources to win the game. I don't need any more cards than this. I'll take 2/2/3s that are going to keep growing each time I play a spell over an Azure Drake on the board. And I like that decision.
OmegaZero finds another removal spell. This is really important for him, but can he get a threat to stick to the board right now? I don't know if he can. A little bit of breathing room, but Green Sheep's got the second Arcane Blast, and he's got the second spell damage mini to go with it. He'll draw another card, wipe out the minion, once again attack for more damage. These Mana Worms, you once told me that Mana Worm was the key to Mage Paradise, and you are seeing that this game. Welcome to the Bahamas, little Mana Worm.
Enjoy your stay. But it's not going to last for long because you're about to win the game, little buddy.
2 fresh cards for OmegaZero. He needs to find some gas. That's inverse gas. Could have just said weak.
And that's game.
He's dead.
He is way more than dead. Green Sheep takes another one, 3-0. 1 game away from moving on to the Cider match, and OmegaZero is 1 game away from his Bahama dreams going away.
And this is Green Sheep. Continues to play aggression. When this guy gets a hand, the pressure's coming. You better have answers or Green Sheep's going to beat you.
By golly gosh.
You better believe it. OmegaZero has started both of his sets today 0 games to 3. He once again has to win 4 in a row if he wants to take the set, but this time, if he loses, he's out.
He just needs to transform into Omega 4.
Hey, I get it.
This is a rough situation to be in. A lot of times when you're a player who's down in a situation like this, when you're staring at an 0-3 deficit, what you have to do is try and remember the times that you were able to come back in a series. You have to think back to a time where you went down 0-3 and you came back and won. OmegaZero's probably had a ton of those across his career. But the one that sticks out in his mind is the one that happened earlier, where he was down 0-3, brought it back to 3-3, and then lost the series anyway. 2 hours and 40 minutes was that match, and it was all for nothing for OmegaZero. Is that playing into his head?
I mean, we're late into the day. He said it in the update interview that he had. Just feeling a little under the weather. I'm a bit tired. He's got 4 games to go if he wants to win. Can he stay focused? Can he get lucky? 4 in a row. Game 4 starts now.
And greensheep, his last deck is going to be Jade Druid.
This is a tough matchup for greensheep, I'm not going to lie. And to be honest, there's quite a few tough matchups ahead of him. Oftentimes, greensheep's Jade Druid is going to struggle to early aggression. That's one of the ways that you beat Jade Druid. You keep them on the back foot and they don't have enough spells to fight it off and make that recovery. OmegaZero's got Edwin Van Cleef. He's got Counterfeit Coin. He's got Natural Coin. He's got Swashbuckler. This is going to be a lot of power early on.
Holds the Swashbuckler.
But greensheep has drawn Mulch, and that's a very key card to dealing with Edwin Van Cleef. If OmegaZero goes all in on this Edwin Van Cleef, he might get punished.
He held onto the Swashbuckler specifically to make it bigger with the to make the Edwin Van Cleef bigger this turn.
Now he's going to think twice. Does he have a better game plan?
Is Mulch even crossing his mind right now? There's only a single copy of Mulch in greensheep's list. And he knows that. That's one of the key cards that you look for, because that's a big one. The rest of it, pretty standard for how Jade Druids go. But he's looking out for that one copy. And he's thinking, is it worth it? And I see a coin picked up. He's going for the Edwin.
Oh my, that's a heavy investment.
It's already out of his hand. Look at it.
I didn't even know you could play cards during your opponent's turn.
He got a Gruul.
OmegaZero's hand is so heavy. Now, I wonder if that's actually a bit of a benefit in this situation. I mean, this game is going to go long if OmegaZero can't close early. That means those big power minions could actually do something in this matchup. Normally, that's awful. They'll just die before that. Greensheep's not an aggro deck. There's a large build phase for greensheep.
That's a real heavy-handed comment, Admirable.
I can say heavy some more if you really want, TJ. When you're 13 hours into a Hearthstone broadcast and TJ gives you this look.
Greensheep's hand.
I'm a little bit surprised that Greensheep didn't innervate this Nourish last turn, either for crystals or for card draw.
I think his plan was to go for this, was innervate Jade Behemoth into Jade Behemoth and then reload with Nourish. I don't mind that line, to be honest.
I don't either. I mean, I think it's good. Just a little bit curious. Greensheep, he tends to play cards just as soon as he's got them. It's a lot like Firebat. I watch Firebat play, and he just plays the best card in his hand every time. And when he doesn't play anything, he feels really weird about it.
It's sort of an in-your-face kind of playstyle. Sort of a you-gotta-have-it kind of playstyle.
Well, OmegaZero's hand is kind of having it right now. Questing Adventurer, Conceal. There are some strong plays that OmegaZero has coming up. Now, it will mean that he's going to take some damage and that his combat this turn isn't the strongest, but Stealth Questing Adventurers,
So many options.
when they pop out of that alley, they're usually pretty big.
A Stealth Burglary Bully is actually really annoying, especially when he's coupled with a Stealth Questing Adventure, because you know you're just giving the rogue fodder to send that guy on some more quests.
Now, this is 8 on the backswing. Greensheep has Feral Rage, so he's got 12 total damage. And again, OmegaZero does not have a natural way to protect himself. Greensheep is 7 damage off of killing OmegaZero. in the next couple turns.
7 damage is actually pretty hard to come by, to be honest. He's got a single copy of Living Roots, 2 swipes, and the second Feral Rage. So out of the 20 cards he has left, there are only 4 of them that deal direct damage,
Well,
and only 3 of them.
He's handing some coins
They give
over to
you enough.
OmegaZero in exchange for a couple cards here. And none of that's damage.
I mean, it looks like he's just going to start fitting in hero power.
6 more.
6 more damage. That's the sweet spot. But I don't know if he's going to have enough time.
Well, that coin, plus the next coin. I mean, OmegaZero is getting close to unlocking an Aviana Gruul turn. And honestly, I think there's a really good chance he slams Aviana this turn and goes, you got to deal with this. If greensheep doesn't deal with that, he's in trouble.
So many options.
How often do you hear that? OmegaZero with this Miracle Rogue deck. He's 1 coin away from being able to Aviana Gruul.
This is probably the only time this has ever happened. Just period. Yeah, there's a lot of games that Hearthstone played. People love to play Steel Rogue. None of them have ever gotten Aviana Gruul. Because you can't steal Gruul, no one plays it. It's got to be from Mulch. Or some other strange effect that could give you a random minion. I don't know. Prince Malkazar, I guess it probably has happened.
Shifter's Heirs.
Touche. Either way, it's a lot of power.
OmegaZero, he's just going to say.
He's just going in.
Yeah, I'm going in.
He says Gruul's good enough.
I'm getting this Gruul out right now. Did he get everything off is the question.
Greensheep looks awfully worried. But he has outs for lethal right now. 2 damage stuck to the board. He's got Feral Rage. Swipe will end the game.
Second, is that second Feral Rage?
Second Feral
That
Rage
is
will end the
it.
game. Greensheep is going to close it 4-0 against OmegaZero and move on. Wow.
OmegaZero, one of the favorites from China, has been eliminated from the tournament by the only other player to bring an aggressive lineup like his, Greensheep. And, oh my goodness, Admirable.
Holy smokes.
It has been a long day of Hearthstone.